Good evening, brave souls, and welcome to our scary stories. In this sanctuary of the sinister, we delve deep into the darkest corners of tales designed to send shivers down your spine. Every echo, every whisper, every restless night has a story. So, gather close, extinguish the lights, and let the shadows become your reality. Tonight, we present a tale where love, obsession, and salvation intertwine within the walls of a haunted manor. Listen closely, for every creaking floorboard, every rustle of ancient pages might just be the next chapter in your own story of terror. Thunder roared in the distance, resounding through the vast, darkened forest like a chorus of haunting voices from another time. Lightning occasionally illuminated the winding path ahead, each strike casting elongated, nightmarish shadows upon the dense underbrush. Rain, cold and unrelenting, bit at Aaron's exposed face as he pushed forward, mud squelching beneath his boots. A wind, imbued with the chill of the approaching night, howled through the towering, skeletal trees, whose bare branches seemed to reach out, craving the warmth of living flesh. Birds of night crooned their mournful ballads, while unseen creatures rustled in the underbrush, adding to the sense of foreboding that clung to Aaron like a second skin. Then, through the curtain of rain and the ebony canopy of the forest, he saw it, an imposing structure, its silhouette dark against the stormy sky. Blood Manor stood defiantly, its turrets and spires rising majestically, even as decay and time threatened to pull it asunder. Pushing open the massive, ornate wooden door, the sound of rain momentarily intensified, only to be swallowed by the cavernous entrance hall. Silence reigned, but for the steady drip of water from his drenched coat. The hall was vast, the arched ceiling lost in darkness. The walls, lined with faded, intricate tapestries, seemed to silently watch him, the remnants of stories they once proudly showcased. His boots clicked on the cold, checkered marble floor, echoing back as if whispered by unseen ghosts. As his eyes adjusted, Aaron noted the majestic staircase ahead, winding its way to unseen realms above, its banister carved with grotesque faces, each more tormented than the last. But what truly caught his attention were the portraits. Their frames, grand and ornate, seemed almost gilded in the dim light. Men and women, all from different eras, stared out, their painted eyes lifelike, their expressions ranging from disdain to sorrow. Yet one portrait stood out, drawing Aaron in with an almost magnetic force. It was that of a child, no older than 10, with skin as pale as moonlight, and those unnaturally red eyes that bore into his soul. Those eyes promised knowledge of horrors beyond comprehension. Suddenly, from the floor above, came the soft, eerie melody of a lullaby. Aaron's heart raced. He was not alone. Lovely night for a visit, isn't it? A voice echoed, smooth yet chilling, from the darkness of the staircase. Aaron spun around, eyes straining. From the shadows emerged a tall, slender figure, an older woman, dressed in a gown that whispered of a bygone era. Her hair, white as snow, was pulled into a tight bun, her piercing blue eyes studying him intently. Aaron swallowed, his voice shaky. "I sought shelter from the storm. I didn't think anyone lived here." A thin smile crossed her lips. "Many things reside in Blood Manor, young traveler. Some seen, some hidden. But you, Aaron, are most unexpected." His eyes widened, alarm bells ringing in his mind. "How do you know my name?" She chuckled softly, the sound echoing eerily in the vastness of the manor. "There's much you don't understand. For now, find rest. But always remember, in this house, not everything is as it seems." With that, she vanished into the shadows, leaving Aaron alone, surrounded by the silent witnesses on the walls and the haunting lullaby that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at once. The weight of countless eyes upon him, Aaron sought a place to rest, though sleep, he felt, would be an elusive guest this stormy night. The corridors of Blood Manor seemed to stretch endlessly, each turn revealing another expanse of dimly lit hallway. Torches lined the walls, their flames flickering with an otherworldly blue hue, casting an eerie glow on the faded tapestries and aging wooden panels. Aaron wandered, guided only by instinct in the dim light. He could feel the weight of history around him, a tale of years and centuries past, each corner a whisper of stories untold. A slight chill pervaded the air, as though the very walls held on to memories of winter's bite. Then he came upon it, an old, ornate library. Rows upon rows of shelves reached out to the high ceiling, filled with books that were bound in leather and sealed with age. An enormous fireplace dominated one wall, the embers from a recent fire still glowing a faint orange. Above it, the mounted head of a great stag, its glass eyes surveying the room with an eternal vigil. Drawn by an inexplicable urge, Aaron approached a grand wooden table in the center of the room. Atop it lay a collection of journals, their pages yellowed, bindings worn. Carefully, he picked one up, the cover embossed with a golden family crest, a coiled serpent beneath a crimson moon. Opening it, he was greeted by neat, handwritten notes. The journal belonged to a lord of the manor from centuries past. As he delved deeper, he discovered tales of lavish feasts, alliances formed and broken, and a recurring theme, a family pact steeped in darkness. In hushed tones, the writer spoke of an ancient ritual, one that granted the family immense power, wealth, and longevity. Yet, every generation, a price had to be paid, a child, chosen and offered to the unseen forces that lurked in the very bones of the manor. However, it seemed one child had resisted this fate. Instead of becoming a sacrifice, he sought to control the power, turning it upon the family, imprisoning their essences in the portraits that lined the mansion's walls. The child with the moonlit skin and blood-red eyes, a power unchecked and unyielding. An involuntary shiver ran down Aaron's spine. The whispering wind outside seemed to carry with it the mournful cries of those trapped souls, eternally bound to the manor. The fire's embers pulsated, mirroring his growing unease. Every creak, every distant rustle heightened his senses. A soft, deliberate footstep behind him broke his trance. He spun around, finding himself face to face with the older woman from earlier. "Diving into our history, I see," she remarked, her voice rich with amusement and a tinge of sadness. "Who is that child?" Aaron asked, unable to mask the tremor in his voice. She sighed, her gaze distant. "Lysander, a boy born of shadows and moonlight. His fate was to be sealed like all before him, but he rebelled, unleashing a terror upon this house that has never been matched." Aaron swallowed hard, the journal heavy in his hand. And the portraits. Her blue eyes darkened. Souls trapped in time, prisoners of their own ambitions, and victims of Lysander's wrath. A clock chimed in the distance, its melancholic sound echoing through the vast room. "You must be careful," she murmured, her voice dropping to a whisper, "for when night deepens, Lysander walks these halls once more." With that, she turned and disappeared between the towering bookshelves, leaving Aaron amidst the chilling tales of Blood Manor's past, the shadows growing longer, darker, and more restless with each passing moment. Outside, the storm intensified, wind lashing against the stone facade of Blood Manor, as if nature itself sought to breach the fortress of forgotten secrets. Aaron, fortified by a newfound determination, decided to explore further, hoping to unearth more about the enigmatic Lysander. He found himself before a large, ornate door. Its surface bore carvings of intertwining roses, their thorns menacing, as if warning of the dangers that lay beyond. Pushing the door open, Aaron stepped into a vast, dimly lit ballroom. Crystal chandeliers, dulled by time, hung overhead. Beneath his feet, the worn-out parquet floor held the reflections of past grandeur. The edges of the room were adorned with life-sized statues, each representing a figure in a dance pose. Their expressions conveyed a joy long lost, their movements frozen in time. Aaron felt a pang of sorrow for these stone figures, forever trapped in their silent dance. In the center of the ballroom stood a grand piano, its ivory keys gleaming eerily. Drawn to it, Aaron pressed a key, and a single, haunting note filled the room, resonating with the sighs of countless memories. As the sound died away, a soft giggle echoed through the vast chamber. Startled, Aaron turned to find a small figure standing near a shadowed alcove. It was Lysander, the child with skin like alabaster and eyes aflame with crimson fire. The boy looked at him with a mix of curiosity and amusement. "You play?" Lysander asked, his voice lilting, innocent, yet layered with ancient wisdom. Taken aback, Aaron replied hesitantly, "A little. Music used to be a solace." Lysander's eyes sparkled with mischief. "Let's play a game. You play a tune, and if I like it, I might just tell you a secret." Though apprehensive, Aaron felt the allure of uncovering more about the enigma that was Blood Manor. Taking a deep breath, he began to play. A haunting melody flowed, echoing the sorrow and beauty of ages gone by. Lysander listened intently, swaying gently to the rhythm. As the final note faded, he clapped delightedly. "Beautiful. Now for your secret." Leaning in, he whispered, "The souls trapped here long to be free. But it's not as simple as tearing a portrait." Aaron looked at him, puzzled. "How can they be set free?" Lysander smirked. "Ah, that's another secret. Perhaps for another tune." But before Aaron could respond, a shrill scream tore through the manor, sending chills down his spine. Lysander's eyes widened with genuine fear. "She's coming," he whispered, fading into the shadows. The statues around the room seemed to shift, their expressions turning to terror. A cold breeze swept through the ballroom, extinguishing the few lit candles, plunging the room into darkness. Alone, surrounded by an oppressive silence, Aaron could feel the walls of the manor closing in, as though the very building sensed the impending dread. The ballroom, once filled with Aaron's haunting melody, now lay silent, except for the muted whispers of the storm outside. Aaron's heart raced as he strained his ears, trying to discern the source of the scream. From the periphery, an ethereal figure began to emerge, moving with an elegance and grace that belied its unsettling aura. Cloaked in a flowing black gown that seemed to absorb the light around it, the figure was that of a woman. Her face, framed by cascading raven black hair, bore a timeless beauty, but her eyes were pools of deepest night, devoid of warmth. She surveyed the room with a serene yet predatory gaze, her attention finally settling on Aaron. He felt like a deer caught in the hypnotic gaze of a panther. "Who dares to play music in my ballroom?" Her voice was a haunting melody, both alluring and chilling. With great effort, Aaron mustered the courage to speak. I am Aaron. I meant no disrespect. I was simply drawn to the piano." She moved closer, her movements fluid, like flowing water. "No one has played that instrument for centuries. Not since he left." A hint of sorrow tinged her voice. "Lysander," Aaron ventured. A momentary flash of anger illuminated her eyes, replaced quickly by profound sadness. "Yes, my dear Lysander. Forever a child, forever defiant." Trying to maintain composure, Aaron asked, "Who are you?" She paused, considering him. "I am Seraphina, the once matriarch of this household, now its eternal guardian. Lysander and we share a bond, one of love and enmity." Aaron gulped, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. "I met him earlier. He mentioned trapped souls. Can they be freed?" Seraphina's gaze became distant. "Freedom comes at a price. Lysander sought power beyond his years, and in doing so, ensnared us all in this timeless prison." The room grew colder as she continued. "I too wish to free them, but the power Lysander wields is immense. The portraits are but a symbol. The true binding lies deeper." A glimmer of hope ignited in Aaron. "How can I help?" Seraphina looked deep into his eyes, searching for sincerity. "You must venture to the heart of the manor. There you'll find the binding chamber. But be warned, the path is perilous, and what guards the chamber is far more fearsome than any portrait." With a final, lingering glance, she began to fade into the shadows from which she emerged. "Seek the heart, and perhaps the souls of Blood Manor may yet find peace." Left alone with this daunting task, Aaron steeled himself. He would venture deeper into the labyrinthine mansion, facing whatever lurked in the darkened corridors. The souls of Blood Manor depended on it. A persistent draft guided Aaron through the labyrinthine corridors of Blood Manor. With every step, the weight of ages pressed upon him, each corner of the mansion whispering tales of love, loss, and betrayal. Torches lining the walls flickered as he passed, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance in his wake. A peculiar, rhythmic sound grew louder as Aaron ventured further. It resembled a heartbeat, steady, relentless, yet laden with sorrow. Drawn to it, he finally came upon a massive wooden door, ornately decorated with images of intertwined vines and bleeding hearts. Taking a deep breath, he pushed the door open, revealing the heart of Blood Manor, the binding chamber. The room was vast, its domed ceiling painted with a beautiful night sky, where constellations told tales of ancient battles and forbidden romances. At the center of the chamber stood a massive stone pedestal, and atop it, an intricately crafted silver box, pulsating with that sorrowful heartbeat. Guarding the pedestal were 3 imposing stone statues, each depicting a fearsome creature, a growling wolf, a rearing serpent, and a fierce raven with wings spread wide. Their eyes, made of pure red crystal, seemed to watch Aaron's every move. Treading cautiously, Aaron approached the pedestal. As he neared, the heartbeat grew louder, more insistent. The silver box called to him, beckoning him to unlock its mysteries. Engraved upon its surface were symbols unfamiliar to Aaron, archaic runes that thrummed with power. Yet, as he reached out to touch the box, the chamber's atmosphere shifted. The statues, previously immobile, began to stir. Stone cracked and crumbled as the creatures took on life, their red crystal eyes now glowing menacingly. The wolf lunged first, its growls echoing throughout the chamber. Aaron narrowly dodged, but then the serpent struck, its fangs dripping with venom. The raven, with a piercing cry, took to the air, its shadow darkening the chamber. Trapped in this deadly dance, Aaron realized the key was the box. He needed to figure out how to open it and hopefully quell the guardians of the chamber. As the wolf lunged again, Aaron noticed a pattern on its collar matching one of the runes on the box. Distracting the beast, he pressed the symbol, causing the wolf statue to freeze momentarily. Quickly deciphering the other patterns on the serpent and the raven, he pressed the corresponding runes, rendering them motionless once more. With the guardians subdued, Aaron turned his attention back to the silver box. The remaining runes formed a sequence which, when pressed correctly, caused the box to open with a soft sigh. Inside, suspended in an ethereal light, was a delicate crystal heart. Its rhythm matched the sorrowful heartbeat that had guided him here. This, Aaron realized, was the true binding of the souls. But as he reached out to it, a chilling voice echoed through the chamber. So, you found the heart of the manor. But do you truly understand its power? Lysander emerged from the shadows, his red eyes locked onto the crystal heart, a mixture of desire and fear evident on his face. Lysander's steps echoed through the vast chamber, the rhythmic pulsations of the crystal heart synchronizing with the beating of his own immortal heart. Aaron felt the temperature drop as the child vampire neared, an aura of menace emanating from him. That heart, Lysander whispered, his voice laced with longing. It contains the essence of every soul trapped in this manor, including mine. Aaron squared his shoulders, determined. The souls deserve freedom, Lysander. Your thirst for power has ensnared innocent lives for far too long. Lysander's laugh was chilling. Innocent. No one who stepped foot in this mansion was innocent. They all had their dark secrets, desires, and sins. Just like you, Aaron. A cold shiver raced down Aaron's spine, but he refused to be deterred. Regardless, they don't deserve to be your prisoners. Neither does Seraphina. The mention of her name seemed to stir something in Lysander. His fierce demeanor faltered, replaced by a fleeting moment of vulnerability. Seraphina, she never understood. This power was supposed to be for us, to ensure we'd be together for all eternity. Aaron, sensing an opportunity, pressed on. But at what cost, Lysander? Look around you. This isn't love, it's a prison. True love doesn't bind, it sets free. The two stood there, locked in a tense standoff. The crystal heart pulsed more rapidly now, casting refracted beams of light that danced across the chamber, creating an almost hypnotic effect. Lysander's gaze shifted between Aaron and the heart, torn between his desire for power and the memories of love long lost. What would you have me do? Aaron replied with conviction. Release the souls. Break the bond. Let them find peace, and perhaps, in doing so, you'll find your own. Lysander hesitated, his eyes reflecting the inner turmoil he felt. Finally, with a resigned sigh, he approached the crystal heart. Hovering his hand above it, he began to chant in an ancient tongue. The chamber vibrated with energy, the very walls seeming to come alive. As Lysander's incantations grew louder and more fervent, the heart began to emit a brilliant light, so bright that Aaron had to shield his eyes. A cacophonous symphony of voices rose, each soul expressing its longing for release. Then, with a final, deafening crescendo, the light exploded outward, and a profound silence settled over Blood Manor. When Aaron's vision cleared, Lysander stood before him, no longer the ageless child, but a withered old man, his life force spent. With tears in his eyes, Lysander whispered, "Thank you." He then crumbled to dust, leaving Aaron alone in the chamber, the weight of what had transpired heavy in the air. But as he turned to leave, he felt a gentle touch on his shoulder. Turning around, he was met with the serene face of Seraphina, her figure no longer shadowy but luminous and real. She smiled warmly at him. "The souls are free, and the manor is at peace," she said. "Thank you, Aaron, for reminding us all of the true meaning of love and sacrifice." She then faded away, leaving Aaron with a profound sense of completion. The curse of Blood Manor was lifted, and though the journey had been perilous, the souls trapped within its walls had finally found their long-sought freedom. A hush that had settled over Blood Manor was disrupted by the distant hum of life beyond its imposing walls. Birds chirped, and the rustling leaves outside hinted at a world reborn. Yet, within the manor, there lingered a residual heaviness, an echo of the centuries of pain and anguish it had seen. As Aaron walked the now quiet halls, he was drawn to a room that had remained locked during his previous explorations. The door, once sealed shut, now stood slightly ajar. Pushing it open, he found himself in a library, where ancient books and scrolls filled towering shelves. A large wooden desk dominated the center of the room, scattered with letters and journals from days gone by. One particular journal caught Aaron's eye. Bound in worn leather and bearing the emblem of a heart pierced by a dagger, it was Lysander's personal chronicle. Hesitating for just a moment, Aaron began to read. The entries spoke of Lysander's early days, a tale of a love both profound and tragic. He had fallen deeply in love with a village girl named Seraphina. However, their union was forbidden due to class differences. In a desperate bid to be together, Lysander sought the powers of the supernatural, leading him down a path of darkness. As the journal progressed, Lysander's tone shifted from passionate love to desperation, and then to remorse. One entry stood out, written just days before the completion of Blood Manor. Lysander wrote of a plan, a last attempt to capture their undying love by binding their souls to the mansion. It was his hope that the manor would serve as a sanctuary, a place where they could be together, free from societal judgments. But, as Aaron knew, the plan had gone horribly awry, and the manor had become a prison instead. Reading Lysander's personal accounts, Aaron felt a rush of empathy. It was evident that Lysander, despite his misdeeds, had truly loved Seraphina, and had been ensnared by his own desperation. His intentions, though misguided, stemmed from a profound, all-consuming love. The room grew darker as clouds obscured the sun. In the dim light, Aaron noticed a series of portraits adorning the walls. There, in a gilded frame, was a beautiful depiction of Seraphina, her radiant smile forever captured in time. Opposite her was a younger Lysander, his face full of hope and promise. A gust of wind swept through the library, causing the candles to flicker. The pages of the journal turned on their own, stopping on a final entry. It read, "To whoever reads this, know that love, in its purest form, is a force unparalleled. Cherish it, nurture it, but never let it bind you. Seek freedom, for in freedom, true love thrives." Feeling a weight lift from his heart, Aaron closed the journal, vowing to remember the lessons of Blood Manor and the tragic tale of Lysander and Seraphina. As he exited the library, he knew that he was one step closer to putting the manor's haunting past to rest. The first rays of dawn painted Blood Manor in hues of gold and crimson. Aaron stood outside, gazing at the structure that had so recently been a prison of souls. Its once intimidating facade seemed softer now, as if cleansed by the release of the trapped spirits. Behind him, the mansion's heavy oak doors opened, revealing the elderly figure of Mrs. Haversham, the town's historian and guardian of the manor's secrets. She approached Aaron, a gentle smile playing on her lips. "You've done it," she said softly, her voice imbued with a warmth that hadn't been present during their first encounter. "Blood Manor is free, and so too are the souls that were bound to it." Aaron nodded. "It was a journey I never expected, but I've come to understand the depth of love and the dangers of obsession." Mrs. Haversham looked up at the manor, her eyes distant. "Lysander's tale is a cautionary one, a lesson on the true nature of love and the cost of binding it. Thanks to you, the curse is broken. I only wish," Aaron began, "that Lysander and Seraphina could have known peace in their lifetimes." Mrs. Haversham sighed. "In their own way, they do now, and their story will be a reminder for generations to come." She handed Aaron an ornate key, its design echoing the architecture of the manor. "I believe this belongs to you." He looked at her, puzzled. "I don't understand." "Blood Manor is yours, should you choose to accept it," she said. "Not as a prison, but as a symbol of hope and redemption. You could open its doors to others, let it stand as a testament to the power of love and the importance of freedom." Aaron hesitated, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. The memories of his experiences in the manor were fresh, filled with both terror and enlightenment. But as he looked at the edifice before him, he felt a surge of purpose. "I'll honor the legacy of Lysander and Seraphina," Aaron decided. "Blood Manor will be reborn, a beacon of hope and a sanctuary for all." Mrs. Haversham nodded approvingly. "Then let the new chapter of Blood Manor begin." As the sun continued to rise, casting the manor in a resplendent glow, Aaron and Mrs. Haversham walked toward the town, leaving behind the haunting past and stepping into a future filled with promise. Thank you, dear listeners, for embarking on this chilling journey with our scary stories. As the veil between our world and the realm of the paranormal fades, remember, every shadow hides a secret, every silence speaks volumes. May your dreams be free from the hauntings of Blood Manor, but should you hear a whisper or glimpse a pair of piercing red eyes, know that the tales we share are never truly far away. Until our next rendezvous with the unknown, keep your wits about you, and good night. This is our Scary Stories signing off for tonight.